Okay, so welcome everybody. Today is our last weekly. Another cohort has come to an end, and I'm very proud of everything we've achieved. So now let's see your demos, your final demos with all the styling.
Personal.
It's supposed to be me. Okay. Yeah, I can share my screen. Yeah, can you all see my screen?
Yes, and
Yeah.
I forgot to hand over to Peter because Peter will be handling the demos.
No problem.
Yeah, so yeah, basically I can just go a little bit through our PR. So what we discuss about how we would like our app to look like. So we met 2 weeks ago, just once, and we talked a little bit that, or at least we had clear, or all of us had clear that we wanted like a little like fun design, but also like very simple and user friendly, so that the app is readable, that the user can find the features in an easy way, and yeah. So we had that clear, and then we prepare a kind of wireframe, which was like very basic, but like to start thinking about the design. So this was like a previous idea. Let's see, my computer is a bit slow, but just to brainstorm a little bit in the beginning. So I just put some screenshots together of like the different parts of the app. Well, it's loading, like we have some images here, but it's kind of loading. So yeah, so I had a couple of ideas that I wanted to share with my colleagues. So the first time we met, I just put these ideas together, like putting a simple background and then just applying a container with a very simple, like color white or something like clear, where we would just like to make some contrast with the background to just show the content of the app, or just like kind of showing like a simple, like a to-do list, something like that. So we were talking about it, and then also like I don't know if it was Debbie or Terry, they also suggested some resources that we could have a look at. I don't remember the name of the website. Maybe guys you can say it, but like to have a look at some other designs with very simple very simple design. And yeah, we decided on also like some colors and maybe some fonts that we would like to use. Like Debbie, for example, suggested the intern font family, which is like very readable, and yeah. So, and also like during our first meeting, we decided to go for a framework, and we all agree with Tailwind, which was like, personally, I found it really cool because I don't have experience with Tailwind. I work more often with Bootstrap, so it was a learning for me. And yeah, so we agree on some of these things, and in the end, our app looks like this. So as you can see, yeah, it's responsive. So we wanted the elements be like, as we said, like very simple. We have some hover effects here, some animations, and of course a nice footer where we link to our project, and a really nice naming that in the beginning I didn't understand. So this was actually Debbie's idea. But yeah, when as you can see, like we created some contrast here, but everything in this container is yeah, easy to find, readable, and yeah. So when we click here, let's just put bread as usual, and then if we see our list, we have here the delete button was transform into a delete tag. I don't know how to call it. And then if we add something else, as you see, it's very, very simple. We have the messages here. And yeah, so that is basically like, it's very simple, and we went through all this. Yeah, so our acceptance criteria were basically, like, as we said, the main framework was Tailwind. We wanted a background image with some light containers to make the content stand out from the rest. We use I'm not really sure now if we have 1 or 2 font families, to be honest, but we wanted it to be readable, to make it more user-friendly, mobile-first approach. Yeah, so it's like the design is responsive, but it's working good for in all devices. Yeah, looking good on computer, and we had some shadow, hover, or yeah, focus effects on the buttons. We style also the all error messages, or like the messages depending on the filtering that the user would do. And then yeah, we added some icons from Font Awesome or hero icons to the navigation menu. And then yeah, this couple of things were optional, but we also added like a nice looking footer, yeah, linking to our project. So yeah, that's basically it. I don't know if you want me to go through the code, or if this was just about showing up the app, like how the look is.
I mean, I'll say like it looks really great. That's really, I love the styling. It looks really clean and professional. I would be interested in hearing if there were any like technical challenges you all ran into or anything like that, you know? So if you want to, if, you know, if somebody wants to show some code where, you know, it was something wasn't straightforward, or you kind of ran into, you know, like maybe the HTML structure you had didn't fit well with Tailwind or something like that.
I personally can say that I didn't know Tailwind, so I had to go through the documentation, but as I knew Bootstrap, it was kind of similar. It was just like the naming convention is changing a little bit, so it was not super complicated to understand. Like, I think once you know about a framework, it's kind of easy to learn about the new one, so it didn't take me so long. And yeah, like I think the only, let's say, like challenge was to find like which thing, like where was each element, right? Like where, like the error messages were split in different components, so always looking for where is this and where is that. But in the end, like by checking everything on the console is also easy to find. So I think that was one of my main challenges. But other than that, was quite straightforward, and I think this is one of the more fun part for me, so I really enjoy styling it. So yeah, and also like having the final app done, so it was really cool.
Oh, I like the fact that you all had to design on like Figma upfront before jumping straight into the actual code. So I like that. Did you do it alone, or was it more like pair programming to finish it up with your colleagues? And how was the last 2 weeks? You know, it's always tricky getting to the finish line when you know we are always finished, and you just like, okay, I'll wait until the last day.
I think personally these last 2 weeks were more I think more challenging for all of us, because I think each of us has been busy, and I think communication didn't work as good as in the previous weeks. I, for example, created the wireframe because I like to have things organized, and I like coming prepared with an idea. So this was like from my side to be organized. It was not a must for the team. Like if each of us would have come with something, it would have been also nice. But it was, I think for me, it was a way to start discussing, like, what do we want to have? So yeah, and I think, yeah, one of the challenges was, yeah, I think communication was kind of difficult to meet and think a little bit to agree on a design, because we knew we wanted something simple, but we didn't, you know, put it on paper, like say, okay, what is simple? Because simple can mean a lot of things. What kind of colors we want, what kind of fonts. So we decided on a couple of ideas, but not on everything. And then of course the days passed by, and we knew also we had to create user stories, which we didn't really do on the first week. And as I said, it was a bit complicated to meet because of different agendas and so on. So in the end, like based on what we talk on our first thing, I just created the stories and just told the guys, if you want to add something or adjust something or change something, just do it, because yeah, like keep waiting, like days pass by and nothing gets done. Like we knew we had to have it done by Friday. So yeah, I think that was one of the challenges that we have. I don't know, guys, what you think.
I'm curious, so you talked about the challenges and all the process. So how did each of you contribute? Because I guess the final 2 weeks are a nice way for everybody to focus on what their strength is. Like, for example, Christina, you said you like organizing and designing things, so you made the Figma files. And so I'm a bit curious about what you personally like most to do, each of you, and how to contribute.
So for me, because I know I sent written question out concerning the installation of Tailwind. So I was having a bit of like, I was having issue with the errors on my, when I ran my code after the installation of Tailwind, it was giving me errors. So I could not like work with the app. So I had to like tell you go for about it, and you just told me to use maybe Yarn or something. So I had to do it. But based on my contribution or what I did, so I checked after battling with the code and everything, and it finally worked some days ago. I had to like change some style, because I felt that the input field was not so responsive, and there was like margin and padding in between. Like there was margin to the right instead of just to the center of the box and everything. So I had to like make sure everything was looking great. And yeah, that was my contribution just for mobile. Essentially, I did everything that has to do with mobile responsiveness. So yeah, I think that was my contribution so far. And yeah, I found out that everything was working. But the only thing I found challenging was that the filter items, I think, I don't know if Debbie was the one that worked on it. So I think the list section part. So I was like, I did it today. I tested it, but the only issue is that once you have the filter items and you pass in the props in between the list section components, you will see that the items are repeating in each of the maybe buying some kind of son and each of the categories. So I was like, there's something wrong with this code, but in all, everything is working perfectly. Just the filter items that I think maybe I and Kevin we need to talk about it and just like resolve it, because I know she was one that wrote a lot of that, the code base around that section. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Terry. Yep, you can definitely look into that and correct it if you have the time. Debbie,
Yeah. What were you saying?
sorry, Debbie.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask what you meant to say.
No, if you mean what I asked before, is how did each of you contribute? Because probably each of you picked their, you know, their strength to work on and contribute.
Yeah. Okay, so to be honest, I did not really focus on any strong areas. CSS is something that is pretty necessary, so I think I had to do it anyway, whether it was my strong suit or not. But when I pulled the changes on Thursday, the styles were still pretty basic at that point. But Christina had added tailwind and added some icons and things. So I did the bulk of the styling. I added an overlay. I fixed the Shoppr name. I added that. I used the brand generator and added that name because I thought it was a very cool SaaS product name. I also fixed the overlay on the background image. At first I removed it, but then I thought it's a really, really nice touch. And I did not want to completely remove the idea that Christina was going with before. So I made it a little bit darker. And I also fixed the bar at the bottom, that basically just the navigation bar at the bottom, I fixed that as well. I added a bit of color, and then for the main body, I added some box shadow around the edges, and I made that a little bit cleaner. I also fixed, so basically I worked on all of the views. So each of the styles in the homepage, the list page, and add item, I made all of those very uniform. I also added the delete button. So at first I was going to go with a couple of other icons, but they were not quite working. But I know that we worked with hero icons. So I went to the website and I tried to look at all the other ones that we could use for delete. And this was the one that I found. Yeah, so I also spaced out on the add item page where you have, how soon will you buy this again? I spaced out the radio buttons because they were pretty close before. And I also fixed all of the buttons. So before we had like this, we had more butter radius around it, I think about 24 or something. So I reduced that and made it a little nicer. I also fixed the button on hover. I added the animations as well for the navigation buttons, and I added the footer. So I did a ton of work on that one, on the styling, yeah. But I was only able to do that because Christina provided me some really solid basics to work with. And after I finished that, Christina worked on some changes again. She was able to fix the error message, and basically our alerts and warnings, she made those look a little clearer. And Terry was able to make everything look nicer. He made the input responsive, and he worked on all the stuff that made it responsive on mobile. So that's basically how everyone contributed, as far as I know.
By the way, I admire all of your answers, the way you answered, because you remember so much detail and you talk about what.
Oh, I spent 4 hours at midnight doing it. I remember it.
Because if somebody asked me this question, I would answer something like, okay, I added some CSS here and there. It would be like a 2-sentence answer. I really love that you remember what you did, and it's very useful to be able to talk about what you've done. Victoria, can you hear us? Do you want to add something?
Okay, I don't really have much to say. So the thing was that after I was ill, I wasn't really able to like bounce back on it, because getting back to work and trying to like still get well really had some implications on my health. So I was stressed at some point. I was even like given a bed rest at the hospital. So I haven't really been able to pull myself together to, start writing codes again. Even up to now, I'm still like very weak. So I just said, let me try and, join in today. So I didn't really work on anything at all, to be very honest, because up until now, I've not really had the mental strength to even like pick up my laptop and, write anything. But hopefully I will keep working on myself, and once I get better, I would bounce back.
Thank you very much, and kudos for not giving up and making the effort to come here today, because I understand that you wrote us in the Slack that you were sick and you had some issues. So kudos for not giving up, and I hope that you could at least check out the code, or later when you find some time, and
All right, thank you.
what's been going on here. And so I have a final question, is what, or I don't know, maybe this is sort of like a retro question, that what would you do differently, or how would you improve the app? So right now, let's say you had the next steps you would plan for the app, how would you improve it even more?
I don't know. Debbie, you want to go first?
Or maybe now that you're at the end, like think of something you would do differently since the beginning. And okay, so we made the wrong decision in the beginning, and if I had to start over again, I would do this thing.
So for me, what I noticed, though everybody's contribution was great, but what I noticed was, I think we repeated, like there's a principle in software development that the drive principle, do not repeat yourself. So I think we kind of repeated ourselves so many times, maybe in some certain aspect of the components in the project. So I think we should make, if we're to do it all over again, I think we should try to create like reusable code that would make sure everything, we can reuse each component in different parts of the app. So I think that was one major aspect we missed, and we'll have to do it better. Yeah, I think that's the most important one we kind of noted.
I'll probably
Yeah, and
say this. Oh,
oops, sorry. No, go
Christina, it's
first. Go
fine.
first. All good.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I was going to say that I would probably say the same as well, because one thing I noticed when I was working on the buttons was that I had to copy and paste the styles a lot, and it just kicked me in the ass. And I'm like, well, I'm basically just repeat what I saw, so let me let me push that forward. But if we were to do this all over again, I know we have a button component, but we did not really use it much. Yeah, so I know, Terry. But yeah, so if we're to do this again, yeah, I would have made more use of the button component that we had, and try to not just copy and paste the same thing all over, because since Tailwind is a very class-based framework, it meant that I had to do a lot of repetition. I would literally have to like split 2 pages and be like, okay, what styles am I using here? And they copy everything over. So yeah, and another thing I'll probably say is that I would also focus a bit more on accessibility. That's something that I struggled with this particular project. I was trying to implement it, but it just went way all over my head, and I completely just pushed it aside for functionality. And in the real world, that is not something that I can afford to do, because other folks use the internet as well. So yeah, if I were to do this differently, I would also be more mindful of people who are differently abled, and make the website usable for them as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to say something like what Debbie said before, especially with the button. When I was also styling one of them, I was like, okay, why this is only styling one button and not all of them? Yeah, that would be one. Accessibility, of course, is also like something that we didn't focus on after having the module with you, Golfo. That was super interesting. And also, while we were just coding like the functionality, there were some times that like giving the proper naming to variables or functions, sometimes like we were giving like super long names, or even just naming items. What is items exactly? Or like using it like very often, like, and also even for the commits, like we had actually one session, and also like Peter provided us with a website with like giving good namings to the commits, because sometimes they were like super repetitive. So I had the feeling many times that I was just committing all the time, like the same naming all the time. So yeah, those could be some of the things that I think I would do different. And also like being very careful with merging or pushing things, and try to avoid git rebase. Something that I had to learn, and it was kind of a pain in the ass, but it was also a very good learning. So yeah.
So for like, I know I created that button because when I was reviewing the code some days ago, I was like, why did my colleagues not use the button component? And I was like why? So I had to just follow the flow because we're out of time. But yeah, I believe since we've admitted it right now, we definitely like do things better in the next run. I don't know if there'll be any other run, or maybe hackathons or any other thing.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions, so Peter, hand over to you again.
And no questions from me. I think it's been nice listening to all the challenges and what went well, what they would do differently. So I think maybe Andrew has something to say before we go to the retro.
Oh yeah, just I mean, really nice job, everybody. App looks great, works well. I did notice a couple little accessibility things, but you know, like you've been putting in a lot of work, and you those are things, you know, if you are interested, you could keep on working on the app if you wanted to keep kind of refining it and stuff after the program's over, but no pressure to do that too. You know, I know we all have other things to move on to as well, and hopefully getting jobs, right? So you know, let me know how I can help with that. You know, I think I'm connected to most people here now on LinkedIn, but if we're not, you know, please make sure we're connected. Happy to, you know, make introductions to people in my network and that kind of thing. But really good work, a good demo, and yeah, nice job. You made it, and you even went an extra week. That's the first time in the history of Collab Lab that we did a 9-week instead of an 8-week. So great job.
Yeah, great job, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes. Are you gonna do a screenshot or the
Yep, now it's time for the selfie.
selfie? Yeah.
Is it possible for you to turn on your camera? Because we're going to make a screenshot selfie for the post. We have to write at the end of the cohort.
To give you more warning, you could Photoshop it or something too.
Yeah, Victoria, maybe you can give us a really nice picture of you. I think we can Photoshop it. Okay, so I'm going to take a screenshot in 3, 2, 1, smile. Yep, it looks good.
We
Okay.
have the eyes open.
Okay, Victoria, I'll take another one, Victoria, now that you are also have the camera turned on. Okay. So 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, this one is better. Thank you very much.
Cool. Great job, everybody. I'll talk to you later. See you over in Career Lab.
Bye-bye.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.
And now we can.
Oh, now you are with the camera on.
Yeah, thank you very much for turning
I've
it on.
never seen your face before, so it is so cool.
First time.
So the big reveal of the cohort.
That should go in our recap post.
And our demo, for sure.
And now we can go on to the retro. I'll also post the link here in our in the meeting in the Zoom chat, if anybody doesn't remember. And so by now you know the drill. We go to the retro board. I see some of you have written some things, but I will set 10 minutes time for the rest of us to write. And since this is a final retro, you can talk about what happened in the past couple of weeks, but also about the Collab Lab in general, so all of the cohort. And there's also an extra column where you talk about your future plans. That's really interesting. So I will set the timer and we can start adding some cards.
Just to, okay, I was going to say for Victoria, in case she still wants to turn off her camera, she's free to.
Okay, so probably as you've heard, the timer is up, and is anybody done? Does anybody need any more time? Okay. Is everybody done with writing the cards? Sorry if you showed your thumbs. I was typing a message and I didn't see it. Yes or no? Okay, I can share my screen. And yeah, sorry for my dog barking.
Problem.
Okay, so here is our board for the final retro. And let's start with, you can see it now. It tells me that participants can now see your screen. And let's start with Peter. Peter, can you hear me? You're not answering and I'm worrying that.
I think he stepped away for a bit.
So okay, so Peter isn't here.
I'm back. Sorry, I stepped away.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so your cards are first in the kudos column, so you can start if you want.
Yeah. Yes, so the first one was kudos to you for helping them with the pair programming session with all the tricky sorting and the likes. I think that was really amazing. And also just to show appreciation for the team, the last 2 weeks, I think everyone had some set of challenges, but being able to get to the finish line with a nice looking app, I think that's really excellent. And the third one, also, I think, which is still regarding the pair programming, but I think there were a couple of challenges regarding dates and sorting and a few other issues. And also, I think with the Git triad, and really amazing to see them solve the issues and be able to get the work done. That's an amazing work. And I really like the name for the app, the Shoppr. I think maybe you guys can start a SaaS product, for shopping list. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah, I also really like the name and the logo, how it's styled. Thank you very much. And Terry.
Okay,
let's-
I'm here. So I just think I wrote, everybody puts their best performance throughout the 8 weeks or 9 weeks right now. So that is some really amazing feat for us, because I know it's not easy for 4 people to come together in different time zone and work together for this entire duration of the program. And nobody pulled out. We were always communicating, and yeah, I think that's a plus for all of us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Terry. Christina.
Yeah, also again, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody, to my collabs and to the mentors, also for paying attention, and especially on Slack, to see if we were working on the app or what the fuck we were doing. But yeah, we were. So yeah, overall, thank you very much for the really great experience. It has been not only the past 2 weeks, but the whole experience was really cool. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Christina. Debbie.
Yeah, so I really wanted to thank the members of the TCL-49 team for doing their best to get us to the finish line, because this past 2 weeks were pretty busy for literally everybody. I'm sure Terry had multiple things to juggle. Christina had a couple of things to do as well. She had a ton of interviews going on, and I was also trying to figure out my life somewhere. And we were still able to finish up and have a nice looking app, and everyone just give their best, even though we had so much to juggle. So I'm really grateful for that, and I just want to thank everyone for helping us pull through. I mean, we made it despite all of the clashing schedules and all the things that we had to juggle. And I also wanted to just say big thanks to Gofo and Peter for all of the great guidance and mentorship. Because of you guys, I definitely have so much to take to my next role. And I mean, it's from accessibility talks to communicating as a developer to making really good commit messages instead of yet another fix, and many times, and all of these really great things that you guys would share on the things with us. I think they're super helpful, and the things that we would definitely be needing our first role. So I really want to thank you for that. You did not let us flop. Anytime we had issues and we're struggling with things, you were always there, and you would do your best to make sure that we understood exactly what we're doing. And I just really want to thank you, because I think that for a program like this to survive, the folks who are mentoring have to be fantastic, and you completely knocked that out of the park despite all the changes in time zone. So I'm really thankful for that we had you to rely on during this program. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Debbie. And now for me, great job, everyone. We had to improvise a lot because of the roadblocks we had that weren't in our control, like illness and all that. And for example, as you said, Debbie, that we also had a time change, and that also it was a bit complicated. And at the end, we were successful. Lots of kudos to the Collabs for their collaboration and hard work each and every week, although you had a lot of other stuff going on. And many thanks to the other mentors, especially Peter, for supporting me and the rest of the team, like presenting modules, pair programming, excellent office hours. That was really awesome. And kudos to all of you for helping me learn new things. Whenever I interacted with you, I was left with positive feelings and food for thought. So it was a really great experience for me. And now let's discuss about what went well. Terry?
So for me, I really like the program about so the thing is, there was regular meetings, office hours, we pair programmed a lot. So from the first week, when we were split into groups, we just went in and just started work full time without necessarily like wasting any time. So we just like had each other's back throughout the entire weeks. And yeah, I think that should really like that should really like make us proud, because I know communication is very, very kind of tricky if you're not like wanting to speak to the other person. So we all did well during this past 8-9 weeks. So thank you so much for the efforts, everyone. Yeah.
And thank you very much. Next, Christina.
Yeah, I think that it went really well, that everybody was willing to extend the project for one more week, because we had some delays, but everybody was motivated and willing to do that. And and that despite personal circumstances, life happens, people get sick, all these kind of things, we manage anyway to finish the app, and that looks good and works well. So yeah.
Thank you, Christina. And for me, what went well is that the app was completed with a great design. The team didn't lose morale. I mean, with everything going on, it's admirable that people pushed forward to the end and didn't drop out or something. That was really great. And everyone in the team picked up new skills and had to face problems that improved their debugging skills. So each week there were various problems and we had to try and solve them. And that was very interesting. Next, Debbie.
Yeah, so something that really went well from my own perspective was that everyone was really easy to work with. And this is really important to me because I've been working remotely for a while, and sometimes I know that it can get really, really tough. And what makes that difference is that the people that you're working with understand where you're coming from, understand that life can happen, and they communicate really well and make you understand how things are going, give you constant progress, tell you about their capacity, whether they're able to take something on or not. And I think that that is something that we did really, really well. Whenever we had to do something and somebody could not pick it up, that person would probably say, oh, hey, I cannot do this. And I'm really sorry. And I have other commitments. Is anyone else able to pick this up? Or is anyone able to look at my error and things like that? So I really loved that we were able to work together so easily. And I think that is something that is a very good skill these days to have, because being able to work with people, not being a difficult person, being somebody who is really friendly and just kind and genuine is something that is such a great skill to have. And I really love that we're able to do that very, very well. Yeah, so another thing I mentioned was that, yes, things really got super busy. And even in the face of that, folks were still able to show up, and they still communicated, and they were able to help us pull through to the finish line, which I really loved. And another thing I did not add here is that another thing that went well was that we're able to constantly learn something new. I mean, I learned a couple of Git commands from Terry. I was able to pick up some really nice organization tips from Christina. I learned so much from everyone, really. And even though I have a bit of experience with Tailwind, I was able to really take it a bit further with this app, just because, you know, we picked something different and I was able to challenge myself. So I think that is something that went really well, the soft skill aspect and constantly learning new things.
Thank you, Debbie. And also, Victoria, you said you're on your phone and you can't add any cards. Do you want to say something now or add the cards later?
I'll just add mine later.
Okay, awesome. When you get access to a computer, you can add your stuff. Thank you. And now let's go on to what could be improved, although we talked about this a bit. Terry.
Yeah, it's still the same thing from what I said earlier when Andrew was on the call. So reusability of code components, breaking down, like, I think we could have communicated that better from the onset, because I think we should have like had this meeting within ourselves and just four of us and just talked about, oh, this is how we wanted to like create component for each of the maybe button, forming periods and all whatnot. So I think that should be something we should take note of in any of, even though it's personal or maybe company's project or anything. So I think that should be one of the criteria for a good developer. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Next, Christina.
Yeah, I think from the technical point of view, of course, many things can be improved. But I think we did it quite great. I'm very satisfied with that. But I think from the soft skills, as I said, I think the last 2 weeks communication was, let's say, low down a little bit because of personal circumstances, whatever the reason was. But anyway, we managed to finish the app. And I think like it can also, like at least I have the personal feeling that we were also quite tired with the last challenging issues. I don't remember if it was number 12 and number 10. I don't know. And I think we got all super exhausted, and I think we needed kind of a break. So to be honest, I'm very happy that the last task was the styling, because it was the easiest one. But yeah, like we could have make it a little bit better with communication.
Thank you, Christina. Next, Debbie.
Yes, I definitely want to stress what Christina said, because I think that personally, this is something that I struggled with the past couple of weeks. I had been interviewing a lot back to back, and around that time, I had to start a new role, and I was just completely thrown off. My sleep schedule went to shit, and I was just staying up every single day to like figure my life out. So I made the common mistake of not quickly saying, oh, hey, I am completely busy and neck deep in commitments, and I might not be able to show up as much this week. So that's something I think that could have been improved. We could have communicated more. We could have mentioned the capacity that we basically had to take things on. And I think that's why things dragged a bit, because after Christina was able to help us get down to basics, it took a couple of days really before either of us touched the app. And that's something that held us back a bit. And moving forward, I would really love to just work on those communication skills a bit more, especially for when things just come out of left field and things come out like very quickly. I also think that for the technical sides, I mentioned the accessibility, and I also stressed Terry's point as well, that we could have focused a bit more on reusability of components, and instead of just constantly repeating ourselves and copying code up and down and losing track of what we're doing. Yeah, that's something that could have been done better. But all in all, I'm really happy with where we are now, and I'm glad that we have something to show for all of our weeks of toil and persistence. So yeah.
Sorry, can I just add something? So though we are done with everything, so the collab is we are done. So I think what maybe for the next maybe cohort or any other person that comes to this program, I think so after each project has been done by the different teams, like the pairing of the team. So I think the collab should come together and maybe check their work even before we do this weekly sync on a Sunday. Like the four of us could have like constantly like taking a day, maybe a day before Sunday or whatever day, and we could have just like come together, just review the code personally, four of us, and just like look through it and know what we worked on the other team, so that so for the next tasks it will be quite, I don't know, maybe easier for us to like navigate. I don't know if you understand where I'm heading to, but I think four of us could have like constantly done that throughout the 8 weeks or 9 weeks to just like keep ourselves together and like checkmate ourselves throughout the entire project. Yeah, I don't know if it makes sense.
Thank you, Terry. And for me, I think that communication could be better between us the past few weeks, but yeah, I feel like we're all a bit tired for various reasons, and I don't know, we're not like at 100%, but still, even then we could manage to make something. And about the last weeks, that maybe too much time was spent discussing the design instead of implementing it, and this didn't leave enough time for code reviews. So maybe that's at least what I got watching from the outside. I'm not sure if spending a lot of time designing helped you as a team that worked on it. That from the outside, that's what I got, that you could have started implementing it a bit earlier. And now to the most interesting part, what's next for you? So we start with Terry.
So I'm the first again. So this year, 2022 has been great. So I think my last full-time role was August 2021. So from during that time till now, so I've just been contracting, doing a lot of technical writing, and so my focus. I know the year is ended. I don't think I can get any full-time role in 2022 right now. But 2023 will be like getting a full-time role and just like sticking at a company and just working for a company. So yeah, I think that should be the focus right now. But my technical writing will still come in because that has been my other source of income. Yeah. So yeah, I just think that writing will be my main focus, but getting a full-time role instead of contracting will be my primary focus instead of the secondary focus. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Terry. And Christina, next to you.
Yeah, next for me actually is I'm taking part on the career lab. So I've been already working on making my LinkedIn profile look much nicer and like, let's say web dev related more than marketing one. And of course, find a job because that's a main priority for me right now. But the thing is that I'm interested in many different things. So of course, web development, but also something between web development and marketing. And also like keep writing a lot because I really like it. And one of the things that I learned here is that I should write for myself, like write things that I'm interested in, and not just writing for an audience, just writing, I don't know, my learnings or my experience, whatever. So this is something that I really enjoyed a lot on the blogs, and of course keep networking and getting to know amazing people like you guys. And yeah, that's basically what and keep learning, of course, because I still have a lot to learn.
Thank you very much, Christina and Debbie.
Yes. So what's next for me right now is that I want to just put my head down for like the next couple of months and just figure out how to do my best in my new role. I have no idea what I'm doing. And it's very, as much as it's very exciting, it's a very interesting product, and I just want to set up a technical blog. Anything I run into, I put it on there, and also I want to branch out and learn other technologies, because I don't know Node/Next.js, so I also want to do that. And I have a portfolio, but I want to work on a Next.js version of that and learn some more React on that end. And I also want to make stronger connections. So something that I did not really do very well in the course of the program was that I did not show up for a lot of the do not chats. And I think that there's such a good opportunity to meet other people and make connections, and just learn about how other people's journeys are going, and folks who are more senior than you, like get a couple of tips from them and just learn from people who have been doing this for a very long time. So that's something I want to do as well in the Slack. So I'm going to stop snoozing myself and have more coffee chats with people, so I can just build stronger connections for the future. And yeah, that's my plan.
Thank you very much, Debbie. Victoria, maybe you want to tell us your next plans.
Okay, yes. So I've actually been able to like take a couple of tests with some foreign companies. So I'm expecting a feedback by January. So hopefully I make it, because I'm really tired of, having to shuttle between my regular job and writing codes, then having the kids. It really weighs me down, and it's really not easy for me. So I'm just hoping to like get a job and successfully transition into tech. I'll keep writing codes, and I'll keep trying to like make connections. And hopefully, if it works for me by January, I will let you know and share my good news. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, everybody. And I see that you have very solid plans, and I really hope to hear from you. And as Victoria said, that I hope everything works out. And please tell us on Slack that if you have something new, or you are successful in something, or if you need help with anything.
All right, I'll do that. Thank you.
So thank you very much, everyone. And yep, this is the end of the cohort. Sorry, I'll plug my charger.
I can't believe this is the last meeting. Like these 8 weeks, like went so fast.
Yeah, I mean, each of the week felt like it was going by slow, but the whole 8 weeks felt like it went past really fast. I don't know how this works.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you everybody very much. And yep, we can talk on Slack. So the next steps are to create the post about our experiences, the recap post.
True.
We're not completely done yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you everybody. Happy holidays for anyone who's celebrating. And
yeah, thanks a lot, guys. It's gonna be weird not to like see you weekly here anymore, but we can stay in touch.
If you still want to chat, I mean, if you people feel like having some sort of office hours, maybe something we can plan ahead of time. I'm most likely available if I'm not traveling.
Yeah, that could be nice. Thank you.
And yeah, I can't make any promises because I'll be having the baby in a couple of weeks. So I might probably be offline completely. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh wow, good luck with everything. I hope everything goes well.
Thank you very
You
much.
will be quite busy
Good
for
luck,
Christmas.
Jofo. Wish you the very best.
Thank you. Okay, so bye-bye. See you.
Bye guys.
Bye.
See you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Aw.